These are the Beats Studio Buds Plus 2023. They have active noise cancellation, transparency mode, and unlike some other famous brands, they have USB-C charging. And I've had a few weeks now to give you my honest impression of these buds and their sound quality. Now, I didn't own the previous generation, so I can't compare these with them in terms of any improvements that Beats claim to have made. However, unfortunately for the Beats Studio Plus, what I can compare them with are the Airpods Pro 2, which I've been spoilt by in terms of sound quality for the last 8 months. So from the start, I have to be honest and say that the Beats Studio Plus have a hard mountain to climb against the Airpods. And if you think I'm biased towards Apple, it should be pointed out that Beats are actually owned by Apple and have been for about a decade. And as a car-carrying Apple fanboy, that might also be the reason that I was quite surprised that this review has gone the way it has. Now, as a recent convert to the wireless earbuds life, I fancied having a spare pair around the house just in case, but I didn't want to go for another pair of Apple buds. Instead, I wanted to try something a bit different and perhaps a bit cheaper that I could also review. I went for the black model primarily because they look better on camera and they were £10 cheaper on Amazon. I didn't go for the clear model because nearly every single reviewer is going for that model. They remind me of a bit of a cross between a Blade Runner cyberpunk ripoff and a 1990s Game Boy. In the box you get the buds, some instructions, the shortest USB-C cable in the world, 3 extra pairs of ear tips of different sizes, and some stickers. In the hand, the case doesn't feel as if it's made of the same premium plastic as the Airpods, but it does open and shut with a strong magnetic feel. Also, the buds seem to be held securely in place by some quite strong magnets, and they almost jump out of your hand back into the box. Now, in terms of physically handling these buds, I prefer the stem design of the Airpods. As for me, it just seems to be easier to grab hold of them and position them in my ears. Now, unlike the Airpods Pro, there are no swipe controls on the Beats. Instead, they have a button on the side. But the good news is this doesn't take a lot of pressure to operate, because at first I was worried. I thought I'm going to be hammering these things into my ear canal a bit further, but they're absolutely fine. They also work fantastically well with Siri, just like the Airpods. When it comes to the replacement ear tips, they're much easier to take on and off than with the Airpods. Sometimes when you pick up the Airpods, you feel as if you're going to break them because you have to pull so hard. The buds are compatible with Apple and Android phones, and they pair really easily with no trouble, as long as you keep your software up to date. And happily enough for Apple users, they also work with the Find My app. And if you're an iPhone user, you'll find all of your controls in exactly the same place in Bluetooth settings, including active noise cancellation, off, which saves a lot of battery, and transparency mode. So having been spoilt by the Airpods Pro for the last 8 months, how do active noise cancellation and transparency mode stack up on the Beats? Well, not very well. Just remember there's no H1 chip in the Beats to capture all of that noise cancelling transparency magic. The noise cancelling does seem to struggle when it comes to higher pitch noises, but when it comes to bass cancellation, it's pretty much on a par with the Airpods. When it comes to transparency mode, the Beats are a real disappointment compared to the Airpods. When you put the Airpods in, it's as if you're not wearing earbuds at all and everything around you seems to be crystal clear. With the Beats, transparency mode isn't very good at all. It feels as if you really are still wearing earbuds and you might as well just take them out. Now, sound quality is of course subjective, and I've listened to every type of music on the Beats, from rock to classical and lots of podcasts, and I've concluded that the sound quality just really isn't good enough for a pair of wireless earbuds that cost £170 in 2023. At first I thought I might just have the wrong ear tips fitted, because in the guide Beats say this can really affect your listening pleasure, especially when it comes to bass. But after trying every pair of ear tips, I must be one of the only reviewers who can't hear any substantial bass from these earbuds. And even when noise cancelling was turned on, I had to turn up the volume a lot more than I normally would when listening to the Airpods. And I have to say the only time I heard the famous Beats bass kick in on these things is when I listened to the new Mission Impossible movie trailer, but that's not something I'm going to be doing for 6-7 hours a day. Mostly I use my earbuds for listening to music and podcasts sounded particularly bad in comparison, with me having to crank up the volume much more than I normally would. And these are the same podcasts that I've been listening to for months on end, so I know how they sound on the Airpods. One thing I can't fault though about the Beats Studio Buds Plus is the battery life. I am indeed getting 8 to 9 hours from a single charge, which is what it says on the box, as opposed to the Airpods with their 6 hours of listening time. And you get 27 hours from the case, which is roughly 3 charges. So given the price of the Beats Studio Buds and the fact that they are actually owned by Apple, I expected something at least on a par in terms of sound quality with the Airpods Pro 2. The trade-offs would be the not so premium case, the lack of wireless charging, and the fact that they don't automatically stop playing music when you take them out of your ears, stuff like that. and I was willing to let all of that slide because as a spare pair of earbuds, these things were £70 cheaper. Now, don't get me wrong, the Beats Studio Buds aren't terrible earbuds, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in comparison to the AirPods Pro, they were always going to struggle. What they are at best is a mid-range pair of earbuds, and I think that the price should reflect that, and it should be closer to £100, not £200. Unlike my choice of computer, Apple, I think you know, I'm not bonded to any particular brand when it comes to headphones or buds. If they sound good, and I don't care who makes them, even ones made by Bose or Sony. And a lot of people claim that they are actually the real kings of active noise cancelling. As for me though, I love listening to music and have to listen to it every single day, so the contrast between these and the AirPods Pro 2 was so stark that I'm afraid these will be going back. Now, if you're an Android user, you might be perfectly happy with Beats headphones, you might have used them in the past and think they're fantastic, but as an Apple user, I would always stick with the AirPods Pro 2, particularly as you can find them sometimes for as little as £180 on Amazon. But as usual, I'd like to know what you think. If you think I'm totally in the wrong about the Beats Studio Buds sound quality, then do let me know. Are these really an AirPods Pro killer, albeit without the wireless charging? Or are you a hardcore Beats loyalist who never buys anything else? Just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.